to ride, that needs to live way above the note that you think it does, okay? Can we add the baritones to that, please? These three parts basically will, you're still participating sound off. Here we go. Evening. So baritones need to be right there, right when we start, all together. Here we go. Evening shadows fall when the day has flown. There we go. Thank you very much. We're finding that flown chord has been a nemesis of this song from day one, where that's about the closest we've gotten to it, as in my years anyway. Here we go. One more time, those three parts. Evening shadows fall when the day has flown. There we go. Let's put the basses in there with that. Here we go. Evening. Got to be nice and clean basses and light through there. Take that out of there. Here we go. Evening. And have that just that very first chord on Eve, please. 4 parts. Leads and basses sound on. Hold on, just leads and basses, please. One more time. Baritones in there with that, please. Together. Good, add the tenor. To the other parts around us that kind of lived in our own little worlds for a long time, where leads only cared what the leads did, the basses only cared what the basses did, baritones and tenors. As soon as we start to understand what's going on across the chorus, what the other parts are doing, the quicker we'll be able to key into these and find that sound, that kind of sound more often, more consistently. Okay? Woohoo! 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 Please welcome Debra, Lynn.
really good stuff. And I'm hearing lots of really good magical stuff starting to want to open. And my feeling is we just want to take it to consistency. Yes?
Yes.
And I would like to share with you, here's the thing. We can go the slow way or the fast way. Which way would you like to go? I'm just saying that, the slow way could take a little while. The fast way could take just a few minutes of like, okay, stretch the brains and let's try to understand something that's kind of weird. Okay, so I'm going to go right to this board because I think if we can start here. Everybody exhale for me gently. And now inhale for me gently. And then release. And I want you to focus your attention inside your mouth. So now inhale for me. And I'll release. So that's to the point of suspension. We'll put it on the board here. So exhale again. Inhale one more time. Woo! And there's lots of space in there. Yes, we do this. Okay, thank you, my lovely assistant Barb. Okay, so now I gotta make this head. This head is my, all right. Always sort of looks like Casper the Friendly Ghost. All right, we got a nose. All right, we'll give it a mouth, chin, and down. Okay, so exhale again for me. Think ah this time and inhale through the mouth. And you feel that place where the muscles stop inside the mouth. Does everybody feel that? Yes, and it's kind of close to the yawn mechanism, but that will stop happening after a little while, okay? But can everyone feel that that moment when the muscles pause in the mouth is kind of right by the ears? Try it again. Uh-huh. Feel that? Okay. So we're just going to make a nice ear here and say, okay, that's your reminder. That's where that is. Now, I want you to try something for me. Jay, I want to have you direct this again. I'm going to have you breathe in to that space, and then I want you to hold that sensation in your mouth, hold it back while you sing the first couple of phrases. On the second breath, you'll just refresh that and like, woo! You're just opening up the back of your mouth. Here we go.
Evening shadows fall when the day has flown.
Awesome. Okay, pause. Okay, so now the word evening, is that leads? That evening, is that the lead thing? Okay, so now leads. Breathe in for the second note for me. Feel that? A little bit higher than you need to breathe in for the first note. You feel that? Okay, we're gonna make the fast way is gonna be you're gonna breathe in for the highest notes you ever sing, and you're gonna stay there. Woo! Basses too. Aren't you excited? Okay, good. So here, so now one more time, please breathe in for the highest. All stay. Everybody in. Pull back.
Evening shadows fall when the day has flown.
Okay, now what do you notice, gentlemen? I think you can relax it. Yeah, Barb. I think this thing will be right here. Yep, we're good. All right, what do you notice? Yes, that was a lovely, lovely assistant. Anybody?
When I got my high notes, which was the last one,
Yeah?
it was easy.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't
Remember,
push up to the highest
we can
note.
go the
I was
slow
already
way
there.
or the fast way. For me, the fast way is for you to understand that there is a place, a way to set this instrument of yours inside your mouth, get it prepared, keep it prepared, always be prepared, and always have it be easy. Okay, so my teacher said one thing to me along my trajectory with him, and he's basically said the same thing. You can do this the hard way or the easy way. The hard way is that your body is going to tell you to continually reset this body and reconfigure yourself all the way across your phrases, every song you sing, and you're going to get exhausted. Or you can set your notes for your inner space for the highest notes you ever sing, buoyantly lifted, and you can maintain that height and refresh that height all the way across a song and use less energy.
Rather than always trying to.
Yeah, the ceiling, I always find it fun with barbershoppers that we're always rehearsing in spaces that really mirror our best mouths right there. So, woo! It's high and it's lifted, and it's all about up, okay? So, for those of you that are analytical, this area right here is your pharyngeal area. It's where the vowels are formed, okay? So, if you guys exhale again, gently, inaudibly please, and think E and inhale, the muscles stop at the same place, but the shape changes back there. All right, now one more time, release gently. And this time think ooh and inhale. And the shape goes to an ooh shape, but the pause position, again, is exactly the same. So the pharyngeal mechanism where these vowels are created is right there at the back of the throat. And although we are not aware of it while we're singing, the brain, as we are articulating words, is sending micro messages to that musculature right there and shape-shifting. Now, if I pull back into that space, which feels like I'm almost pinning the wall of my throat sort of back, like I'm going to hold it back. Woo! I feel like I got a lot of space in there, okay? It's not soft palate, for those of you that are classically trained. It's actually the area where your vowels are shifting. And I maintain the integrity of that pullback through an entire phrase. When I articulate, my timing is going to be super quick, which is going to make my high notes easy. Right? So I hope this is helpful. I want to tell you why I'm asking you to do something, because your brains will not do it unless you understand. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, we just won't do it. So, questions about this? So now let's breathe in again. Woo! Okay, so this piece, I want us to just kind of keep this as sort of our standard tonight while we're working, because I want to take you into A-level artistry that will take you to the same results, but you won't be thinking about these muscles. Okay? So we're going to play more fun and go towards the artistry side of things tonight and the performance side of things, so that you can access all this good magical stuff. But I need you to just kind of consciously, on your breath preparation in particular, continually reinforce that idea that you're breathing in for your highest notes. Deal? Okay, cool. So, I was hearing some really lovely expansion of sound a few places as you were taking the run. Sorry, I just lost it. I'll get it in a minute. What's your up to?
Consider yourself.
Good, let's try it. Shall we? Let's come in.
When you starting to frown, there'll be smiles all around. Nothing in the world is gonna get you
What did you notice? Harder or easier?
Yes.
Way easier, gentlemen, to do your job, right? Okay, and now we're gonna even have more fun with it, okay? So, tenors, I want to commend you because I was noticing when I was sitting over here, really lovely, unified sound. Since the last time I was here, I felt like you all were having a lot more ease and accuracy just getting. Is that true? Yeah, I was feeling it. And so even now, I could hear it. Basses, this run of this, how'd you feel?
Okay.
Yeah, meaning the bass presence is kind of just constant. So the thing for basses with this work is that I'm asking you to do something that is not necessarily natural for the bass instrument. The bass voice tends to want to be more about the down. And I'm suggesting to you that if you'll be more about the up, you're going to have way more down.
I found that I usually concentrate, kind of in the middle, and then I'm reaching for the upper note and the lower note. Like concentrating on the upper note, that was just natural. Came out with no problem at all, and the rest of it fell right into place.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, I'll often say to folks, if you want to go watch a bass that does this, go watch Jim Henry. Because you watch his face, and he's just not moving, and he's lifted, and he's smiling, looking like he's having a blast while he's singing, because he probably is, because it's effortless. You're not having to work so hard. If the mechanism collapses, and then you've got to reset it, or kind of get your grips about where you're going, it's just not only irritating to the body, but it's also not timely, meaning it's very difficult for you to do your job in a timely manner when you're needed, okay? So now we're going to talk about timely manner. I'd like to do the song again. This time, gentlemen, instead of you doing it, meaning, all right, I've got to do my job, I want you to think your job. All right, I want you to think your interp. I want you to think these words, and I want you to articulate with the intention that your sound is going all the way to the ceiling. Your job is to expand sound on every single attack you make. Okay, here we go. And we're going to pull that mechanism back into position to do it. Okay, here we go.
When you started to frown, there'll be smiles all around. Nothing in the world is gonna get you down. Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family.
Okay, good. Okay, so you can feel already, right, a little bit more of an immediate expansion of sound right at the attack, okay? So you're not going to have to micromanage yourself as much. This is a big, for me, today's theme in PBIs has been enough with the micromanagement, all right? Your brains are brilliant. Your brains already know how to articulate. You guys talk, right? Okay, right? So our brains know how to actually articulate language. But what happens in singing, and I think it's honest, we've come by it honestly in the barbershop world because we all know vowel to vowel, right? And we're going to enunciate our sounds vowel to vowel to vowel, but watch what now happens. I'm micro-tuning every single thing I do, okay? So we're flipping your consciousness just for purposes of ease and for having you experience yourselves as much more magical beings than maybe you're recognizing right now, that you can fill this room with ringing, effortless, in tune, crazy sound, resonant, fully resonant sound without force. Woo! Won't that be fun? Okay, so I gotta get you to do it. So but that's my job, you keep in mind that whenever I say something that doesn't make sense, it's really okay, because it's my job to help you understand what I understand in my body. But can I just hear the leads start at the consider yourself line so I can get it in my head?
Consider yourself at home.
Okay, good. So I gotta jump up. I might be able to con. Everybody do con, and the C is your launch pad. Con, and it's going to the ceiling. Go.
Consider
how we're gonna unify your section tonight, is give you a new job, okay? You're all giving 100%. We can already tell that, okay? That is not the issue here. It's that the objective that you have right now as a unit is still out. You're still trying to get in the game to J. And I want you to get in the game to the ceiling, okay? So can we try again? I'm gonna direct them for just a second. All right, you guys ready? And.
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so strong. It's clear we're going to get along.
All right, guys, was that like the most unified we've heard your lead section in a while?
Yes.
Holy moly. And you guys didn't have to take years of voice lessons or try to figure this out or go improve yourself and become, you know what I'm saying? It's just the objective we have that is not allowing us to fully expand and amplify, boom, right at onset, okay? So this little puppy here, okay, my little X, I gotta draw something for you. Let me just, so I can get your heads in the game. Okay, let's say those are your vocal folds. We have an idea in our mind that we're gonna breathe in air. And then that air is gonna come up, create some magic, and exit the building. Over and over and over and over and over again. That's how this works, right? We're gonna breathe in, we're gonna let it go, we're gonna spread it out, and it's gonna do this thing. And I'm constantly walking into rooms and going, what if that's not how it works, gentlemen? Okay, so in bel canto, we take out the out. There's no out. Well, where does it go then? All right, well, you got a few choices, okay? But what we just did is we played with your nasal resonators. Remember this one? All right, so the facial piece, this facial engagement of cheeks being lifted, is opening up the garage doors to your nasal resonators. And I was out in, I had the great thrill and privilege of coaching Harbor Lights out in San Diego a couple weekends ago. And I was quoted as saying, from your nasal resonators to the divine. Because the reality is, for me, that's what we're doing. We have infinite space above us. And we have infinite space behind us. Out here, I have absolutely no concern with what's happening in front of me. As soon as I launch past my face, I have lost control of my instrument. If we took every one of your instruments and fully bring it onto line tonight, which is my intention, bring yourself on the line, boom, up, boom, out, boom, width, boom, height, boom, resonance, the whole bit. And we can keep your mind from going this way, out of your mouth. We can give you, how many guys are on the risers right now?
How many raise your hands?
All of them.
All you 3 to 4 times the numbers that are on the risers. 3 to 4 times the numbers with your body. You can resonate 4 times as loud with my work as you can by force. Let's do that game. Think about that, okay? All right, so basses and leads. We're going to go back to consider yourself. So, how are we doing? We're pulling our mechanism. Woo! We're up, we're lifted, we're engaged. Because our nasal resonators have to be open. So this is the why. The facial engagement has to be stable and maintained at all times. Because those resonators have to be open and clear so that as you articulate, it shoots right up to infinite space, okay? So basses and leads, right from that, consider yourself. Let's give it a shot.
Consider yourself.
Yep. So, basses, do the con for me. What's your note? Is that your note? So, think it, and just give me the C to the con. Just one note for basses. Ready, and? Now, pause for a second. Con, go. Con, con. You feel it? Yeah, it's going up. Ready, one more time. Con. Bravo. That's unified sound. So that was the coordination between that pharyngeal mechanism of pulling back and you launched your sound. Try it for me again. Ready, and con?
Con.
Now, I need your intention to be that you're going to articulate that C like it matters. Here we go. Con. That's it. That was your brain taking action, as opposed to con, which doesn't have enough energy and animation to expand your sound. Try it again, basses. Here we go.
Con.
Boom. And now it's a completely unified, accurate, in tune, resonant sound. This is crazy stuff. You can just do it from your onset. Okay, so now you do it with the leads. Here we go.
Just the word con or going?
No, you can actually do the whole sentence.
Consider yourself at
Okay, wait, let's get now. Lee's got it. Yeah, let's have a pitch. Thank you. Lee's get your pitch in your head because you got to hear it in your head. And
Consider yourself at home.
That's some lead singing melody. Basis singing.
oh, bass
Basis
melody.
singing melody. Yeah.
Oh, sorry guys, I probably turned you off. Do you know your notes? Should we go through them? Okay, so this is a good practice, all right? You guys have there. I don't know how do I say this? I want to say it delicately, but not. All right. There's nothing different between you and the ambassadors of harmony. Now I know you don't believe me at this very moment, okay? But there's no difference. The only distinction is that they have gotten used to the practice of staying really focused on what they individually are doing in that sound as a team. It's the only difference, okay? So let's be them. Here we go. Why not?
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so very strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself part of the furniture. There isn't a lot to spare. Who cares? Whatever we got, we share.
Okay, good. Pause. Okay, good. So now just bases for a second. Okay, so guys, we're going to go to the mechanics that we did when I was here the last time. I want you to exhale for me. Inhale, and that's your timing on those attacks. Con, and then we're just going to pop here for just a little bit to see if we can get you to launch sound more effortlessly. Okay, so just bases for a second. Baritones, get ready. You're next.
Consider yourself.
Okay, so right there. So it came down. Consider yourself. Consider yourself.
And we're not waving at ourselves. We're trying to represent that breath and that.
Yeah,
place.
kinesthetic. This is a kinesthetic. For those of you that like kinesthetics, exhale for me. Inhale. Point to suspension. The purpose of this is to reinforce that you're holding back. So let's just do it once, and then keep holding it back all the way. Okay, so here we go. Ready?
Consider yourself.
That was better. That was actually better. You feel it? Consider yourself. Try it for me.
Consider yourself.
Yes. You lifted up and you maintained your integrity of the cathedral inside your mouth. The space inside your mouth, you kept it there and kept articulating in the same space. Does this make sense? Here we go, basses. Here we go again. Ready, and...
Consider yourself at home.
Okay, good. So now, consider yourself. Try it for me.
Consider yourself.
I want you to actually feel your voice expand to that ceiling. So you're going to self, and you're going to literally point up as you go. Ready, and...
Consider yourself.
Yes. Did you feel it? There was an expansion that happened. To some degree, you all, you're used to playing on a smaller playing field called your head. There will be a point where playing in the smaller field called your head will be very important for pianissimos. But right now, I need you to actually believe that you are connected to the infinite space that's above your head. And your job is to launch yourself into that space and keep yourself there. on every single word you sing. Okay? All skate. Everybody in with that intention. Here we go.
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so very strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself. Consider yourself. Furniture. There isn't a lot to spare. Who cares? Say whatever we got, we share.
Different. What'd you notice? What did you notice? Cleaner. Yeah, more synchronized. You're going to actually be more synchronized just by default because you know your intro, you know your notes, you know your music. You also know how to, your brain knows how to articulate. The speed of onset, here's the kicker right here, okay? In order for us to catch sound in this instrument of yours, this onset becomes primary focus, okay? So, and that spot right there is, remember from last time, the hook of your heart palate. So, we have ideas that the way this thing works is inside out. We breathe in, this happens first, we get a note, we pick up a vowel, we grab a consonant, and we leave the building. Oh, right? But what if the consonant, what if the onset, what if your articulation energy is the spark plug that launches everything, including your full, expansive resonance and ring? What if this is number one? What if that's the most important thing you do? As a matter of fact, my teacher said it this way: that's the only job I have. The only actual action I take is the onset. What is the onset? Somebody reiterate what you think onset means. Beginning of what?
Which word?
Of what?
The action.
You're getting closer. It's the beginning of every single syllable you sing. Every single time you have to articulate something, a shift in a note, a shift in a vowel, a shift in a consonant, a word, whatever, that front edge of that syllable becomes the onset. Your precision at onset causes the launch. You can hear when I articulate that my sound is expanding super quick, yes?
Yes.
Con. It's because my mechanism inside my mouth is already ready at all times. Someone looked at my mouth today and said, "Are you just constantly lifted?" I'm like, uh-huh. Right, and I've gotten used to it. Internal. It's not like I'm trying to be fake on the outside. I'm being authentic on the outside, but I'm lifted here. You can see that, yes? It's the inside space that's the magic, gentlemen. Woo! That's the hard palate. Lift that for me. You feel that? You know, we think of hard palate, we go hard, it can't move. Well, it can in relationship to the jaw. So upper jaw, up. Do you feel how you have like a ½ inch more space? All right, what if you just hold that there? Woo! Feels like woo! We're just gonna, right? That's your magic zone, okay? So now, all right, I'm gonna play the game on the board. Jay is gonna direct you, and we're gonna play with the consonant. You guys, I know I'm sorry, I'm gonna sit right in front of the tenors, but you guys are doing really well. Speed of consonant, gentlemen, on the tenor section. Faster, 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 faster on those attacks. Okay, no word goes unnoticed. Does that make sense? For tenors that have often been told not to articulate, I'm telling you, I need you to articulate to the nuance and do exactly the opposite for me. For everybody else, the precision of the consonant is like if you say the sentence, "Consider yourself at home." Say that for me.
Consider yourself at home.
Now, so your first sentence is consider yourself
At home.
at home. Okay, now, how would you say that sentence if you were really saying it? Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself at home. Is that how you're interpreting it?
Consider yourself.
But that's how you're singing it. How would you say that?
Consider yourself at home.
Consider yourself at home. Say that for me, gentlemen.
Consider yourself at home.
You articulated differently when you spoke it than when we want to sing it. When we want to sing it, we want to stretch it out and articulate like with rubber. You have to articulate that onset just like you're saying it like you mean it. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
This is how we get to A-level artistry, right here. I want you to articulate every single syllable that you sing as if you really mean it. Here we go.
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself one of the furniture. There isn't a lot to spare. Who cares? Whatever we got, we share.
Bravo, 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 bravo. What was the difference? What happened for you? What'd you feel, Chris? You're in the front of it.
Yeah, that felt really good.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden it felt, every time we hit, we as a chorus tend to have this issue where we have that, similar we were talking about before, that one, consider yourself
Yep.
at home. All
Yep.
of a sudden it hit every time we did it.
Yeah,
It was so much easier to be with.
so much easier to be with, so much easier to do, so much easier to have, right? Y'all felt it? You don't have time to worry. You're not freaking out in the middle of it. Anybody happen to notice your breath wasn't such a big deal? You're not really worrying about your high notes or your low notes. Like suddenly you're just not in that consciousness because your brain is taking you to the split second of timing accuracy that allows the entire thing to be absolutely effortless. Yes?
Can you just explain, what's the difference between what we're doing, like, punching versus what we want to do?
Yes. Okay, so let's just find that out. Let's just do that. Everybody, I want you this time to punch and thrust those consonants and see if you can figure out what happens when you do that. I won't make you do it too long.
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family.
Okay, all right, yeah, right. So what do you notice? As soon as we go to thrust, what happens? Yeah, and you notice that you start to feel stuff here. Okay, so this piece right here, for me, is really, this is what most of us want to do. We got the up thrust thing going. We breathe in, and if we're over pressurized, how many of y'all been barbershoppers longer than 20 years? Okay, anybody remember the phrase, peel the paint off the wall? Okay, how do you think you did that? Right? So by forward thrust. So what if you could actually have more power, more range, more freedom, and more ease without any thrust? Okay, so I'm not even saying that we're talking low pressure or less pressure. I'm saying no pressure is what gets you there. Zip pressure. So exhale for me gently. Breathe in the ah. You feel that feeling that you're just suspended in this sort of weird animated state. That's it, release. That's the only thing that I feel is I have now opened up my instrument. I've neutralized, I've approximated my vocal folds at the point of suspension. As soon as you pause, your chords are ready to roll. Now our job, should we choose to accept it, is not to bust them wide open. Is to keep them in that suspended state. One more time, because this is weird. How could it possibly be this easy? Try it one more time. Woo! Okay, so that's what you're going to do. We're going to go like this, and we're just going to make a woo, and we're going to hold that energy. Here we go. Ready, and? Woo! You feel that? And you made all that sound by holding that suspension steady. And you also had higher ring in your sound by doing it, okay?
Nice job, Basis. You were way up there.
Yeah. Well, and that's a really cool thing in bel canto. In bel canto, the lowest voices have high. The highest voices have low. And the idea is that we're playing in the coning concept of sound, just like barbershop in bel canto. The top of my range has a tiny little bit of weight. The bottom of my range has a lot of weight. The bottom of my range has a tiny bit of height, the top of my range has a lot of height, okay? But when I say height, I mean height in the sound like ring, not necessarily structure. The structure stays the same as if I'm always singing those high notes. Woohoo? Shall we? Okay, so, all right, questions about this quick. Who like those, nah, I got nothing, I don't get it. Anybody? It's okay.
Larry's comment about punching,
Yep.
we're changing our space all the time if we punch, right?
Yeah, you're collapsing the space a lot when you punch. You also have a thrust, which is for the most part exacerbating your vocal cords. So like today, everybody like take your thumb. I am not trying to go farther past my face than that. I'm only playing off that hard surface inside my mouth, okay? So now, I'd like to go into like the artistry piece, but let's make sure this makes sense to us. Can we try it one more time with, we'll start from the beginning of this, all right? And I'm gonna come to this side of the room this time. Keep your structures open and engaged, all right? As you're holding a note in your part, like you're having to suspend a note or hold a note, instead of just holding it, I want you to continue to let the sound expand all the way to the ceiling until you're ready to articulate the next word, next syllable, okay? So that you're continuing the energy of suspension, if you will, keeping your instrument suspended on your sustainments of sound. Does this make sense? Consider yourself as opposed to consider yourself. We're not going to just stop the sound. We're going to allow the sound to continue to expand all the way through our finishing work. Okay? Here we go. Yep. Woo!
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so very strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself your way. Consider yourself part of the furniture. Isn't a lot to spare. Who cares? Say whatever we got, we share.
Pause. Holy moly, baritones. That was awesome. She's got goosebumps. That's a director. She knows goosebumps. Isn't this crazy? This is crazy. Chris,
Sound like so many more people. And
Right.
effortless, a lot of freedom.
freedom in the sound, effortless quality, and
There's no difference, gentlemen, between you and the ambassadors of Harmony.
you can quote me on that. Okay. All right, they may have a few more men on the risers. But the men that are on the risers are you. You're the same men, right? The magic of any one of you equals the magic of any one of them. All right, so my job, and I love this job, is to help you understand exactly how magical you are. And you're so magical that you could just focus on your precision of onsets and that expansion to the infinite space above you, and we're going to play with the pull as well in the ballad. You could just play with that at home, keeping this structure and have effortless ease on every note you sing. Every one. Anybody notice they had any problem with any particular note? Were ya even thinking about it? It goes out of your consciousness. It's gone. But the thing that keeps it out of your consciousness, and I need you to understand this, is the speed of your onset. It's the speed of those consonants. It's the speed of how you're articulating. You cannot hesitate. You cannot hesitate. If you hesitate, tenors, you're lost. It won't launch. You'll get the timing issues going on in the sound. Okay, questions about this before we go on? Good? Did it feel good? It was magic. And baritones, you were, that was accurate. So I'm teasing you a little bit. But last time I didn't really get a chance to come over and actually address you or talk to you, right? What is your experience of baritone land over here? Is it always accurate?
Sure.
Are you? And you're always like right on things never have any tuning issues as a unit or anything going on, right?
That's correct.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But you didn't. You didn't have tuning issues. Faces, you didn't have tuning issues. There wasn't anything but resonant sound, accurate to the tune. So to the intonation and the tonal center. This is the piece, right? Your brains do not flat. Your brains are brilliant. Your brains know how to hear that music in your head. If you can't hear your notes, if you go home and you learn your music and you're not really sure about your notes, okay, this method won't work for you until you do. But as soon as you know the notes, it's like you're running a software program. Woo! And you're just launching it. Okay, so can we go to the ballad for a little bit?
Okay.
And
Well,
play
we're
that.
learning a new song for a bell, but we can go back to
Whichever one
Couple
you-
of the Beat.
Yeah, maybe we should do the one that you know a little better for now.
Yeah, Couple of the Beat.
Let's do it. Let's do that. Is that cool, guys? All right, so now guess what? Nothing changes. Ever. So what do we know so far? Give me the pieces of the puzzle. We have to do what? We have to keep what engaged? The inside of the mouth. The inside of the mouth. What else besides the inside? Facial engagement has to stay. Yep, your resonators are staying open so that you have free access to them on a flip of a switch. You're only articulating to the hard palate. What are your ribs doing? Yeah, you're the cello. You're staying. Now you happen to notice that you're not having to think so much about your breathing because as you're doing this, you're not really using as much air. Woo-hoo. Another great thing about this work. Okay, let's give this a shot.
Evening shadows fall when the day has flown, and the tiny stars are aglow. Midnight covers all, and I'm all alone with the only friends I know. All the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three, the cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me. Around the corner there's a party upstairs. Here on the corner are we, the cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me. I go to my room and open the door. There's nothing but gloom, so I go to the corner to hang around some more. I see the happy-looking couples go by. They're so in love they can't see. The cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me. Oh, so lonely.
Pretty fun. That's a good place to start, yeah? All right, let's take it someplace further. All right, so the sentence that goes, the cop on the beat, the man in the moon, is that right? Can you guys say those words for me, like a sentence? Go.
The cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me.
Okay, so if you were saying it, the The kappa. The kappa.
The
The
kappa.
kappa. The kappa the beat.
The
The kappa the beat. Now, we're gonna take our hands, and I want you to make it, we're gonna do one straight line. Ready? And the kappa the beat. The kappa the beat. The kappa the beat. So what happens with the English language sometimes that causes us difficulties is that the words themselves start to inflect up and down. So the cop on the beat. You feel it? The cop on the beat. So when we're singing and we're trying to keep something in tune, some of that action is actually causing us to lose control. So now, exhale again. Inhale for me. Set the body and the height go. The cop on the beat. Bravo. You feel it. It's like you have to articulate as well as get your consciousness that there is no down. Boom. There is no down. There actually really is no up. The up is only in terms of expansion. There is no up reaching for notes. Okay, so what is it, the man on the moon? How many me? The man in the moon. So now let's do the man in, the man in the man in the moon. Here we go. The man, the man in, the man in the man in the moon. So you can feel it. There's a place where you get potholes that want to happen again. So one more time. The man in, the man in the man in the moon. Now we have, now, I don't know if you noticed this, but now we've got forward momentum happening on that sentence because of the way we're articulating it. One more time, so we're going to go the cop and the beat, the man in the moon, with that feeling of we're going to run it together. Ready, and. The cop and the beat, the man in the moon. Bravo, guys. One more time. Take your breath and set the instrument. Woo! We're going to use our space and keep our body still. Go. The cop and the beat, the man in the moon. Now we're unified. Okay. So I want to get into that section. And then we have to articulate because it's all about this. All right? So here we go. Let's try get in there first, and then we'll address it. I want to see what happens just by getting the time. Yeah, there you go.
Of all the people in this.
Let them have a downbeat. Just first verse.
Of all the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three, the cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me.
Okay, good. So now I'm going to ask you to do something weird. I want you to implode your consonants. The cop on the beat, as if you're going to say it to yourself for me, to this space. So you're going to pull the space back and then articulate it to yourself. Okay, so let's get in there one more time. We'll start right from the beginning of it. If you can do it right from there, that's great. Good. Oh, sorry. Go back.
Of all the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three, the cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me.
Did you notice the distinction of what happens? So there's a part of how, remember the question about the thrust and the pushing of the consonants, okay, that can upset this balance, okay? By the way, the balance that we're maintaining is because we're pulling, we are neutralizing the vocal fold mechanism. We're keeping it approximated. We're keeping it closed. We're keeping it connected so it can do its job without interruption. Just like your brain, your vocal folds are really smart. They know how to do their job. You're not having to micromanage them. What we're trying to do is stay out of their way while they do their job. Does this make sense? So because we're pulling sound, you notice we're not really pushing air out. It's more like we're holding air back, the old Pavarotti candle trick. Okay? So why did that work when we imploded our consonants? Because the timing of those consonants launched our sound more accurately on every syllable because there was no thrust and we weren't losing control. We were feeling that sense of pullback. Can we try it one time? I need you to articulate it like you mean it. Like those words are important to you, but do it within the context of this pulling into that instrument. Okay, your pull back baritones for me. You're gonna breathe in. You feel that stretch back? Now every single word you sing, it's like you've got your radio voice on. Boom. Okay, cool. Here we go.
Let all the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three, the cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me. Around the corner there's a party upstairs, here on the corner are we. The man in the moon and me. I go to my room and open the door. There's nothing but blue, so I go to the corner to hang around some more. I see the happy looking couples go by. They're so in love they can't see. The cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay.
Find that lead section. I've never heard that.
They have a new job. We just gave them a new job. You know, it's like, the unification of sound is actually not as hard as we think it is. If we're all doing the same thing at the same time, in the same way, with the same objective, typically we're gonna hit the same result. It's only when, you know, if we get on the risers, and like, you know, let's say you all had voice teachers from a bazillion years ago, and you've all learned how to sing in different ways, and you all just play your own game on the risers. My opinion is, it's never gonna sing at the level that it has to at A-level barbershop. There's a certain level of us compromising our own whatever in order to do it as a team. However, what I also believe is that without you on the team, it doesn't work. Without the individual singer in the middle of it doing their absolute present best, meaning absolute present, staying present to the words, it doesn't work. So now here's what's sort of bugging me a little bit about this cop on the beat, man in the moon, is I hear no T's and no P's and very few C's. I am hearing man in the moon, but there's a little bit too much time on them. So we're getting man in the moon instead of man in the moon. Man in the moon. We'll launch that sound and let it ring. Man in the moon is making it a little muddy.
Are you feeling any sympathy?
Zip. No. I'm feeling lots of sympathy for you right now.
No, we meant for the.
Do you mean sympathy for the song?
The song, at
You
the
know-
end,
I have to tell you, the ending is actually quite lovely and quite strong, right? It's like you like it there. Like it's not just rote. It's not just going into sort of autopilot. May I speak frankly? Okay, so it's like it wants to go into autopilot early and sort of stay there, and then as soon as it gets to that sentiment, we suddenly actually hear the words. Does this make sense? So what would we need to do? Can we try something? Are you guys gentlemen willing to play a game? If you guys want to play the game, we're going to have the leads and the basses play the game. Okay, so the baritones are off the hook, but you guys are observers, and tenors off the hook. So I'm going to, for purposes of this, I'd like to bring the lead section off, if it's okay. And if you all that are watching watching want to get a better view, you might want to, I'm going to semicircle leads towards the bases. Tenors, be ready. Yeah, let's do a break. All right. All right, yeah, right there, because you're going to feel direct. Okay, so let's just hear the leads for a second. Just start it, and then I'm going to, we'll stop, and then we'll start again.
Of all the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three?
Okay, not bad, not bad. Immediately, you can hear it. We got there's a lovely, lovely quality of tone there. Now, nothing ever changes, so I want you to exhale for me. Get into that wonderful habit space. Walt, right? He was there early this morning. Breathing in. I want you to structurally try to stay still and just articulate into that same space the whole time. Okay? Ready? And here we go.
Of all the people in this lonely
Okay, one
old
more time.
world,
Of all, go. Of
all.
One more time.
Of all.
Again.
Of all.
Which way is that sound going? Right on the attack of. Go again. Ready? And then keep going for me. Ready? And.
Of all the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest
Now,
three?
I gotta stop you for a second. This is what I heard. Of all the people in this lonely old world. And the world came down. So here's the weird thing about this work. You are creating an illusion. An illusion. You're creating the illusion that sound is just maintaining this. You hear it. It's up here. It's above their heads. They are creating a sound in a ring that's somehow resonating in the space above. This has got to be quantum physics. Okay, because how is it that their sound that they're making here is impacting the space above their head? For me, it has to do with the fact the resonators are open, their objective is up, they're maintaining, but how are they holding it up there? They're holding it up there, from my perspective, because the structure is not collapsing. It's like we've created a house of cards. As long as we don't drop, we're good. Does this make sense? But as soon as you drop that roof of your mouth, gentlemen, you're going to lose it. And there it goes down. Okay, so here we go again. And not to be up, just for purposes of re-getting our thing. Ready? And up.
Of
One more time.
all.
You're going to do it together.
Of all.
That's it. It's like you're saying it. Here we go. And.
Of all the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three? The cow on the beat, the man in the moon, and me.
You feel it? Did you happen to notice there were words there? And we actually heard the T. And you know where we heard it? We heard the T at the top of their height of that expansion. As soon as they expanded all the way to the top of that finishing work, the T was up there. Even though they articulated it their T, where we heard it was at the height of the expanded sound. Does this make sense? That's why you have to keep your energy on the fact that it's just continuing up. Okay, so now basses and leads together. Of all, you did do it, believe it or not. It was really happening. Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right, basses, you gotta do the same exact thing. Here we go, with the leads. Good job. Okay, so you have a pickup, whatever. Okay. So get your bodies ready.
Of all the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three? The cock on the beat, the man in the moon, and me.
All right, pause for 1 second. So basses.
Basis, we need to get those patterns straight. And there's 3 different patterns, and we're getting all 3 of them at the same time.
All right, we're talking about the note changes right here. Okay, so now part of that's where we want to go. Part of what happened is, in order to make those note changes, we let the musculature drop to go get those different note patterns. What if your brains are really smart, gentlemen? Keep the structure the same and articulate the note in the same space. Just articulate it. Don't change anything about what your bodies are doing.
So just to double check.
Okay.
The cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and, I know you guys know this, I know several of you know it, and I think you know that you're going to the second part both times. First time, cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me. The second time, you get that easy, because you're doing it the same as the first time. Having the difference, do you know what I mean? Wally? That would be really, really good. Really good, really good. Really good.
Okay, good. Now, so bases.
Thank you.
How many of you are there now? Yeah, quite a few, okay? Can you all give me more speech energy, meaning like you're talking to me through this, okay? Keep the nasal resonators open with that sort of launch thing, but give me more articulation energy, like you're trying to match their articulation. All right, don't back off of your articulation just for purposes of this exercise, okay? One more, and then we're gonna take a break, and then we'll come back. You're doing fabulous work.
All the people in this lonely old world, who are the loneliest three, the cop on the beat, the man in the moon, and me. Around the corner there's a party upstairs, here on the corner are we.
Awesome, guys.
The man in the moon and me.
Bravo. Okay, good. Pause. Did you happen to notice you were locked? You were ringing? You were accurate? You were effortless? Did anybody freak out about notes or anything? Were you worried about your breath? Nothing. Okay, basically, what that did for me, from the perspective of harmonics and sound, is it keeps you more in your frontal resonators, which gives us more of that barbershop quality of forward bass placement. If you get a little too relaxed in these instruments and you kind of like set back into your woofers a little bit, for me, we lose the brilliance of the ring of you. So when we come back, we're going to play a little bit more of that and put the baritones into that too on the bass clef side. Is that cool? Here we go. Break 4.
Yes, can we be back?